There's over a dozen here, so let's go. Hi friends, I'm Meliora. Welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about the end of summer installment in my perfume collection. Many of us are reluctantly transitioning into fall, and some of us in Australia are transitioning to spring. So I wanted to start with a punch, with a really good, meaty, full of beautiful bottles and interesting smells kind of fragrance haul. The first one is gonna be Umbra by Molinard. Molinard has been repackaging their kind of like node-based lines of scents, and you can find them fairly cheap, between $26 to $50 per bottle. And here we get 75 ml, so I grabbed myself a few because some of the tester bottles appeared on Canada. Again, at this point, the favorite perfume shop. And it's in Canada, it's not even in the United States. To be honest, FragranceNet hasn't been delighting with many interesting deals lately. And Canada has so much exquisite niche for really, really good prices. So they had a bunch of testers by Molinard, and I grabbed myself a few. So here we have Amber. Basically, I'm a sucker for colored glass bottles, and this is a deep kind of violet, deep purple color with a, I think this is ambery, yeah, like orange type of juice. It looks really good in person. The only thing that I'm a bit not happy with is the cap. But since this is a tester, yeah, and it says tester not for sale, I presume that when you actually buy a bottle, you get much better lid with it. It's still pretty good. It's matte black plastic with the rose gold Molinard emblem on it. So, I mean, it's very decent, especially for the price that I got it for. So I was kind of adding to my ever-growing collection of amber scents, and I thought, you know what, I should have some more affordable, or at least mid-tier prices for the amber scents when I finally am ready to do that. At this point would be gigantic amber fragrances review. We'll see if I finally gain the courage to actually make that video, because amber is a lot. Similar to rose kind of scents, it's really a lot to tackle. So I got myself Amber by Molinard because I heard that this line in general contains a lot of like golden standard, really good, nice interpretations around a particular central note. So this amber seems to be one of those more fruity ambers, kind of peachy, apricot-y ambers that I personally don't like. I don't like it in Black Pearl by Elizabeth Taylor. I don't like it in Cashmere by Chopard. I don't particularly love it in many other higher end options either. I do prefer my amber to be more resinous and more smoky or more spicy or something, but not apricot-y peach, because at this point this has been overdone to death. So blind buy, and not probably a very lucky one. It's not like it's a bad scent. No scents are really bad unless they mean to be, unless you're Demeter and you're making a fragrance called Dirt, you know? So it just was a sweet ambery accord. It's just not the kind of amber that I appreciate. The second one that I got is Coeur, which is leather in English, again by Molinard. And you know, even though this is called leather, this is the first scent with a realistic kind of hookah / tobacco smell. I have a few tobacco fragrances, and some of them are good for this facet, some of them are good for that facet, but I haven't really gotten a realistic kind of tobacco flavored scent that I really like when people, you know, smoke tobacco. I don't smoke, but a really good high quality tobacco is really pleasant to witness. And this is the first one that gave me that realistic hookah bar type of smell. Even though it's called leather, to me it is aromatic flavorful, a bit gourmand tobacco rather than leather. I just got it, so like there will probably be more coming to my review at some point. If you're curious to talk about more leather scents or tobacco scents in my collection, please let me know. This is a very precious purchase for me because I got it through a friend blogger of mine in Canada, and one of the perfume discount stores there doesn't really, either they don't ship to United States or the shipping costs were pretty high. So first we got shipped it to her, then she wrapped it up with a bunch of swap of decants that we did and shipped it to me. So I got myself a Prada. It used to be Prada Eau de Parfum, then it was called Prada Amber Eau de Parfum. So my version says that this Prada Amber, and it has Résine de Labdanum, decants, Feuille de Patchouli, de Indonesian Patchouli, Resin de Bignon d'Islam de Santal, Indian Santal. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Prada. I thought Prada was an Italian brand. Why is everything in French? I'm not so sure. The Prada Amber, it's basically a very dusty, a little bit kind of vintage take on the juxtaposition of amber and patchouli. This is what I mostly feel here. The warmth and full bodiness of amber with some of this kind of green, I don't want to say moldy, but kind of like mossy smell of patchouli. And all of that heavily covered in some kind of dusty powder. Very elegant scent. Back in the day when it just came out, I couldn't really wear it. I was more like a La Parkenzo kind of girl in my 20s, with exception of what I'm going to show you next. So I couldn't really appreciate it back in the day. My tastes were different. I wouldn't say they were not as developed, though, probably also fair to say that. But you know, like sometimes certain smells, certain tastes, certain foods, certain drinks, certain clothing can be an acquired taste. It's not bad or good if you do not appreciate something, but it's kind of curious to develop a taste for something that you didn't like before, like, I don't know, beer and olives. Like I remember when I was a teenager, I couldn't stand olives, cilantro, and beer. And now I love all three. Anyway, so Prada Amber, I'm very proud that I added this tester to my collection, and so thankful that now it's also attached memories to a friend blogger of mine. Another piece, that's actually what started that whole endeavor with exchanging parcels between the countries, because that discount store had Anglemania by Vivienne Westwood for a very decent price, 50 ml for I think roughly $50. Oh, I love it. Now I have two. One backup that I think I'll open in fall because I just used up my last bottle. So I got myself one backup, and this is my second backup. So I think I'm set for considerable future with Anglemania. Oh, for those of you who are not familiar, it's a discontinued fragrance line. All Vivienne Westwood fragrances are discontinued. If you're still looking for trying something from them, and if you just see it on a good deal, I would heavily recommend their older releases. Boudoir, Anglemania, I think is it Let It Rock or like some other one. The newer like lines that are like were full of flankers, like Alice or something else maybe. I think the quality already started dropping there, but the older ones are really good. Exceptional quality of the blend if you can find them for an affordable price. This was a Mercari find, a slightly sipped on bottle of Frisia by Diptyque. This is my first, believe it or not, yeah, I claim to be a perfume reviewer with, you know, with years of experience, and yet in my private collection this is the first bottle of Diptyque. Lately I've been trying to kind of like overcome my own closed-mindedness when it comes to refreshing florals. You name it. Jo Malone, yes. I've been trying some of those. Iron, Diptyque. Who else can we think of? There are like a few brands whose motto, right, whose brand identity is based on kind of like refreshing, flirty, floral compositions. So I decided that I should give Diptyque a go, because out of all of those that I named so far, this is probably with the most pedigree and with the most history. Again, I'm a sucker for historic, the long history, you know, like so and so worked for Diptyque in 19 da da da. It's just, I fall for that. Like, I fall for that. It's pathetic. Anyway, first fragrance, and so far I'm not disappointed. This is basically all about freesia, and to my shame, I haven't really encountered good naturalistic freesia bouquet to really memorize the smell. Maybe here and there, but I didn't really have a good benchmark in my mind when I got this bottle. So I don't know, do you guys know where one can smell freesia? I have no idea, maybe in some botanical garden or something. Anyway, it seems a very, like, as a very recognizable floral scent, but I wouldn't be able to tell you how beautiful and masterful this freesia is done. I'm just happy that I finally have a full-size bottle. It was a decent price. A fellow perfume collector gave it to me for, I think, $50 maybe. The next one is a blind buy. And since I have such high trust in the brand of Penhaligons, who are now owned by Push now, like for a number of years owned by Push, I didn't know that. And the Push actually also owns L'Artisan Parfumeur. And interesting, like both of these are in my like top 10 niche brands, and Push Corporation owns both of them. I don't know. Interesting. I just found it curious. And I got myself LP number 9 for men. And I got that for myself because a lot of people were swearing this is not another leathery ozonic cologne. This is something that anyone can wear who likes elegant spices fougere with leather. What can I say? It's definitely a kind of like a classic smell, but I find it a little bit bland, to be honest, kind of forgettable. I'll give it a go. I'll wear it for a few days and see if it opens up with any unusual, unexpected facets, but for now, unfortunately, I'm a little bit upset to say LP number 9 for men, for me, is a bit of a downer. I just can't really tell it apart from like a million other men colognes. This was an experiment that I got myself for summer. I haven't worn once during the summer. Let me explain why. Let me tell you what it is and explain why. So this is Histoire d'Amour 2 by the Perfumes Abusant Paris. I think I told you that I got the first Histoire d'Amour, which is like a floral green fougere, a very delicate, very light, very watercolor kind of fragrance, but it's also very cheap. And I loved it. I got myself a whole set of shower gel, body lotion, and like a large bottle of perfume. It looks the same. This one is pink, that one is kind of like light pistachio green. And I was so impressed with the originality of the design, even though like it's not the most expensive glass you can find, but it's definitely there's some thought there. There's certain design is there, and it's very flirty. It kind of looks good, you know, on a makeup table and things like that. Not that any of us care, but since it's not expensive, every once in a while I do like to see on my vanity table like a beautiful bottle. So I got myself the number 2 out of just sheer curiosity, and that the first one was a pretty lucky blind buy. And because they were promising, on top of like the old kind of like what you expect from the Histoire d'Amour base, to add watermelon. And I thought, watermelon is perfect for summer. This costs like less than $20. I'll just wear it all day long and just like indulge in this kind of fruity fougere lightness. I must say that I was taken aback when I smelled it at first, because this is not the kind of like ozonic watermelon molecular whiff that we're used to get from, I don't know, Davidoff, Cool Water, and all of those 90s perfumes where like all of these ozonic molecules got invented. This is a sweet, powdery watermelon. This is so unusual. Like the last note I would think to combine watermelon with would be like heavy dose of kind of iris powder. This is not what I would really think of, not on top of my list. So the overwhelming kind of dustiness, sweetness, and heaviness of this perfume really took me by surprise. In the same vein, it is unusual because it's, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe there are dozens of powdery watermelon perfumes. I haven't met one. And that's what makes it interesting. I just need to rewire my brain to what to expect from it. It's definitely not that one of those ozonic fruity cocktails that you wear to the beach and just, you know, out in the heat. This is definitely a formulation that to me contains a lot of unexpected intrigue. Not that this is the most expensive smelling blend. It's not like hyper multi-dimensional in reach, like, I don't know, Frederic Malle perfumes. Let's keep it real. This is like a $15 bottle. But still, it's a puzzle for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna start wearing it, I think, probably in the fall. Well, at this point I have to. And I'll probably report to you more later if you're curious. If you want just a quick review, I can do like an Instagram post about it. Just let me know in the comments below, and subscribe to my Instagram if you prefer to read reviews rather than listen to them in the video. So I don't even know what to say about this. I failed because it was not the kind of watermelon I was looking for and how I would combine watermelon with other notes and accords. But at the same time, if I manage to open my mind and, you know, kind of try to understand it as it is, this might be something interesting. Okay, confession time. This is a backup. I know, backups are the worst. This is like, I have like some form of excuse, right? Because it's discontinued, it's my signature fragrance from when I was like 18 and blah, blah, blah. You know, we can have like soft spot for a historic perfume in our own lives, like a nostalgic kind of thing. But getting backups of perfumes that we have in our collections is really it's not the best idea. And yet I couldn't resist. It was too cheap. There was a tester of a 15 ml of Mata Hari 1876 by Histoire de Parfums. This is a very polarizing perfume for many because it is so herbally bitter and at the same time powdery. I can imagine that at its worst, somebody could smell like a lipstick that got bad. So this kind of like bitter, oily, herbal scent. But I, personally, I smell the most poisonous seduction of some kind of herbal concoction that will send you into some kind of opioid dream. Not that I condone any kind of substances like that, but I mean it in a very kind of abstract, you know, aesthetic way rather than anything real. It's just so seductive and bitter and sadistic in its bitterness, and I love it. I tend to actually like herbal scents these days way more than I did in the past. So even though 1876 by Histoire de Parfums I would not recommend as a blind buy unless you're buying 15 ml, I like it so much that I got myself a backup. This is a very lucky gift that I got from a subscriber, and she sent me a bunch of decants some of which we'll probably review later, and also a bottle of perfume. This is a tester by French Connection, FC UK, Friction, Her Eau de Parfum. I must say, I do dig the kind of crystal bottles with this. You know, like the first was, well, all we know, Valentino Donna line has this. Who else? I think some Roberto Cavalli bottles. You know, all this like kind of faceted crystal style. I kind of dig it, it's pretty cool. So, what do we have here? Friction by French Connection for Her. This is gonna be very simple. This is gonna be like a one-sentence review. Pina colada. It's yummy, delicious, unapologetically synthetic and simple. This is not the kind of pina colada you get in 5-star resort, and my heart bleeds as I remember some of past vacations where I could travel to places that made authentic, from scratch pina colada from overripe coconuts. Okay, grief counseling is over. But you know, the kind of pina colada you can buy in a big, I don't know, 3-liter bottles, and you just like add rum to it, and it's like a pina colada mix. This is the kind of smell this is. Very simple, synthetic, cheerful, yummy, probably really good for just spraying in the shower, you know, like something when you just want mindless, kind of reckless, flirtatious feel, but you don't really want to keep it around you for hours later. I think it doesn't, in my experience, it doesn't really last very long. Okay, next, my subscription from Perfume.com. This time I got myself Eau de Nil from Penhaligons. I'm trying to try all the Penhaligons I can put my hands on if I find them to be on either a really good deal or decants. In my experience, Oud does not really work well on the paper blotters. So I'm just doing this for like a light refresher. I already wore it twice. So the worst part about Eau de Nil for me, okay, let's start from the expectation. Why would I get an oud fragrance? I'm not an oud lover. I'm very careful with what kind of oud I can and cannot wear. And I prefer either Gourmand Oud, which is like Royal Rose Oud by Micallef, which probably is the cleanest kind of oud you can really find with rose. And Gourmand ouds are fine if they're not too oily, not too bitter. I don't like medicinal oud. Sometimes oud can be dry and bookish, and that's what I hoped for here. For example, Al Oud by L'Artisan Parfumeur to me is this kind of dry book like paper, like old book. That's what I mean by bookish. Maybe like almost herbal, but like dry, you know, like dry herbariums, kind of like recollection of leaves kind of oud. The Penhaligons being essentially the quintessential British style of blending perfumes kind of brand. I expected that their oud would be so scrubbed clean, so dry, so tasteful in almost demure, that would be the oud I could wear every day. Eau de Nil was promising to combine oud with some fresher, more almost cologne-like notes. But unfortunately, mostly what I get here is very smoky kind of oud and bitter because of that smoke. The opening is definitely something I have to survive initially, but then it becomes softer and becomes more interesting, but then it also loses the oud effect almost altogether. So in that sense, I don't really get a wearable oud out of it, and I don't really like the first 30 minutes of smelling it either. So for me, the Eau de Nil by Penhaligons is definitely a flop, but if you like ouds, this might be, you know, like an English classic approach to oud that you might like. If I have time, I'll try to put it on my Mercari or a eBay page so you can get it for yourself from me if you wish to. Okay, So this was a long term in the wish list, and I got there from a blind perfume testing that subscriber sent to me, Andre from New York. And when I tested this fragrance for the first time, I called it spicy urine. But as soon as I discovered that what I called a spicy piss, essentially, was made by Comme de Garcons, I immediately started loving it. You know, like how like the miracle of marketing, the miracle of the brand name can just turn you 180. Ever since I discovered what that perfume was and who made it, I was craving it. So Andre sent me one more decant so my craving can be satisfied while I'm hunting for a bottle, and I found it. So this is Grace by Comme de Garcons, a perfume done in collaboration with Grace Goddington, an infamous, historic figure in fashion, and one of the longest lasting Vogue contributing editors. All right, first things first, the bottle. Very, very well conceived shape. Everything is super smooth. I can still see the seam in the glass, but it's not too noticeable. What's truly astonishing here, first of all, the name is a laser on glass. It's not a print. And the cap is made of chrome glass. In my life, I haven't seen glass lids on designer bottles, only on some hyper exclusive line or niche. So you have to be careful with it, but it has a cat because Grace has like 1,000 cats. She's a big cat lover. So the bottle was truly something why I kept hunting down the full size representation of this fragrance, because it's a very collectible bottle. The scent, you see, I still want to say that it's a spicy urine, because it has this very sharp, piercing, but yet unpolished, kind of a little bit prickly and rugged musk, maybe rose as well. But all of that, it's so piercing, it's so, maybe it is cat urine. After all, Grace Goddington is a cat lady. She's infamous for having like 1,000 cats. Maybe that's what it is. But yet it's also wrapped with these green notes and some spices and some in this and this and this and that. That, as loud and piercing as that rosy musk is, I'm kind of digging it. I'm living for it. It's very much a great fragrance to wake up. It really punches you in the face and you're like, whoop, I'm up, I'm good to go. So I'm very happy that I finally got it. Where did I get it from? Because I was hunting it down for like, I think at this point over a year. I got it on Beauty Habit, another resource of incredible deals for niche fragrances. Maybe like not as cheap as Fragrance Net or Fragrance Buy can do, because they sell testers sometimes for like $30-40 for niche brands. BeautyHabit.com does not do that, but they don't sell testers. This I got for like $70, something like that. Beauty Habit every once in a while have additional 20% off for everything that's on sale. I would definitely wait for that, and that's why how I got it. I think it was $70, which is, you know, it's not the cheapest that you can find online for some niche fragrance, but for the fragrance that I was really trying to find on a good deal, and fragrance basically new, there's not a tester, like comes fully wrapped, I think it's decent. It's decent considering full price for it. All right, last stretch. I had to finish on the on the recent collector obsession of mine. I think this is my weakness at this point. Histoire de Parfums became the kind of brand that I have to pull every single decisive muscle in my brain not to collect them all, because that's one brand that just broke me. I find their bottles, their concepts, their scents to be so collectible. It is pathetic. I have no excuse, but I got myself another one. So this is 1725. A seductively modern French scent for men. Lying! It's a unisex, it's not for men. Inspired by Zoo Bisou. And guess whom? I feel like it's another installment on like the sexiest of them all. Casanova. Note the significance. Born, because he was born in 1725, so the years that Histoire de Parfums have are always denoted to a significant event or historical figure. The most legendary, misunderstood lover, spy, musician, writer, and sumptuous debauchee. I think I'm a little bit concerned to wear it. If all of that is true, goodness, what's awaiting for me tonight? Because I'm gonna spray it. This is the last of the whole. Okay, so what does Casanova represent in the olfactory design space? You know, since we're at it. Leathery, but kind of suede kind of leather. It's bergamot, citron, pamplemousse. Yeah, there is something like refreshingly zesty about it. Lavender, Bedienne, I don't know what's that. Vanille and the dry down at the base. Amande douce, sweet almond, santal, cedar, amber. You know, this is what I love about Histoire de Parfums fragrances. They are very interesting to witness in time. Time as a dimension for a fragrance has been such a scarce dimension to find, especially in designer perfumes. In niche, this is a niche house, so I guess our expectations are higher, but even in niche fragrances, not necessarily. And I find that I think it's called the portraits, like the line that Histoire de Parfums has that has years on it, because they have several and they're quite different. This one really does deliver on the way of fragrance transforming itself, opening bit by bit and kind of taking you on a journey. Oh, this is... I kind of wonder, how does it compare with Hemingway? Because I was about to say it's both like zesty, citrusy, yet herbal and spicy, but I kind of remember I said the same thing about Hemingway. I feel at this point, slowly but surely, we're edging our way toward a house review, right? Right? I think it's ought to happen at this point. Let me accumulate a few more bottles, like I'm still waiting for a few orders to arrive, and I think when I'm ready, we'll review and compare them all. So yeah, Casanova. Now a smell of him. Beautiful, but again, you know, when it comes to sex marketing, I'm so over it. I'm so over it. The smell is good, and this is undoubtedly unisex. I find like all of these, the portrait line, all of these they don't really have any pull in terms of their targeting. Pretty good, I like it. It's good stuff, good stuff. Alright, that was it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share the video with the fragrance lovers that you know, your friends who you think will like this video. I'll really appreciate your patronage and support. And basically, let me know what you think. what have you been buying lately? I'll be waiting for your feedback, and I'll see you in the next video.